Twin Beach and icing. Um, Once upon a time, we had my uncle who had the flying service. We had a trip with 8 guys, um, 5 of them from Rapid City, 3 from Sioux Falls, and we took them to the Caterpillar factory in Peoria, I think it was, Illinois. Overnight, come back the next afternoon. It was late fall, and so I was flying the Beach 18, and my uncle had a Cessna 310, so he's faster. Um, and so we took off the same time from Peoria. He got to Sioux Falls because we had to get fuel because the weather back in Rapid City was IFR, and we needed to have enough fuel for that. We took, he landed, had just finished fueling when I pulled up on the ramp. And so he was, call it 15 minutes ahead of me. So I got fuel and took off. I was number 3 for takeoff. My uncle was first in a Cessna 310. There was a freight dog going from Sioux Falls to Pierre. And then I was third. And back then, since we were Part 135, we had to follow the Victor Airways, and so we're all on the same route. And so my uncle picked 8, and the next guy picked 6, and I'm stuck at 4,000, which is the lowest MEA for that. When we had come in, there was just a trace of ice on the east side of Sioux Falls. We kind of expected that on the west side. Well, didn't actually work that way. I got level at 4 and started picking up moderate to heavy ice. And so I had done 3 winters of flying the airmail, so this was extreme by anything I had seen. And so I asked Center for higher, and they said, I can't give you higher. There's traffic, 12 o'clock, 6 miles, same direction. All right. And so I thought a couple minutes, and I'm popping the boots maybe every 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm going, man, and I'm thinking to myself, I've got to get out of here and I'm guessing the tops are right above me. It's not unusual for the worst ice to be in the top 2,000 or 3,000 feet of a cloud layer, and I knew that's where I was based on when we had come in an hour ago. And so I said, well, Center, how about you turn me off course so I can get up? He goes, no, can't do that. And so I'm looking out, and I've already lost maybe 20 miles an hour. Instead of cruising at 160, I'm down to 140, and I got ice 2 or 3 inches thick on unprotected surfaces. And I'm thinking, this was not going to let me continue. And so I came back to Center, and I said, Center, we need to get me out of 4,000 feet. And he says, well, the best I can do is turn you a 180 and turn you back to Sioux Falls. And I'm thinking, that does it. And evidently my voice must have gone up an octave, because as soon as I quit transmitting, my uncle requested 10, and the freight dog that was below him requested 8, which then left 6,000 open for me. And so as soon as they cleared, Center cleared them, then they cleared, I hadn't turned yet, so they cleared me for 6. And so I'm climbing at about 200 foot a minute with takeoff power. Because the freight dog said, well, tops were 4,500 when he left Sioux Falls. So I'm going, there I am right in the top layer of that. And so I finally break out at 4,500, and I finally stagger my way up to 6,000, but I'm only indicating I've got, probably 3 or 4 inches on anything that didn't have a de-ice boot on it. And it was cold enough, it stayed that way all the way to Rapid City. So I flew along like I'm doing slow flight the whole way. It took me an extra 45 minutes on an hour-and-a-half flight. And so my uncle got in first, and he decided to wait around till I got there because he wanted to say goodbye to the passengers. The head guy was on the 18, and they were in the back playing cards. They didn't care how late we were. They were back there playing gin rummy or whatever they were playing. And so I finally get in and land and taxi up, and my uncle says goodbye to all the folks, and they kid around. And he looks at me and he goes, "Where have you been?" And I said, So we walk out of we walk out 10 feet to the edge of the wing, and I just point. And there was like, he goes, oh. And so I don't know how much it weighed, but I had at least 3 or 4 inches. And there's a lot of unprotected area on a Beach 18. All the windows, I kind of landed looking out the side, but that's not a big deal. You do a little side slip and you can see where you're going, and put the one wheel on and do a Bob Hoover thing and turn it back around. And, that's as most ice I ever want to see. And so luckily, that would be my icing story for the day.
Very good.